everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sightless Voices, Unleashing Potential. I am your hostie with the mostie, Jennifer Parrish, and today we have a very, very uplifting episode for you guys. Our guest is none other than the Reverend Michael Garrett, a dedicated community leader and advocate who has made significant contributions to the blind and low vision community. Reverend Garrett's journey through vision loss has shaped his path and fueled his passion for helping others. So today, he's going to share his story and his unique insights with us. Before we get started, though, as always, we will describe our set for our blind viewers. We are sitting in blue chairs. We have wooden tables next to us. We have a white brick background, blue lights, and a neon lighthouse sign. All right, let's get into it. Michael, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate having you.
You're welcome, and thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. Okay, can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your vision loss journey?
Let me say I was surprised or wondering who you were talking about in the intro. But anyway, I was born with retinitis pigmentosa, although I didn't know that until I was about 21 years old. So I've always been I've always been visually impaired, night blindness. But back in the day, I had good partial vision. I could see, read print, all those things. But I learned braille when I was 10 years old, and that was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me because I could read print and braille. I could sneak and read books at night at the dorm.
That's awesome.
And but when I needed to read print, I could do that. So as the years grew, of course, retinitis pigmentosa is a degenerative, progressive disease, and over the years, I lost more and more vision.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, RP is so common, it seems like these days, too. That's cool you could read Braille, and like it's at such a young age. That's a little bilingual kind of ish situation there. So let's talk about the impact of your daily life. So how has vision loss impacted your daily life? And I know this is kind of a broad question, but kind of your daily life and your activities, and you can talk about, maybe when you were younger as opposed to now, and, since you've lost more vision. So,
well, I'll give you an example. When I could see fairly well, I used to cross streets, look at the car, I could see the cars coming, so I could cross the streets and fairly safely. But now I don't go the places that I used to go, at least not by myself, crossing streets in the middle of the street. I mean, without stoplights. So
jaywalking.
Doing a little jaywalking, But the rest of life, the independence, all that, it was because I had night blindness. And when I was a kid walking around the TSB campus, we didn't use canes. So we just, you made your way.
Right.
And you, of course, I didn't go off campus by myself.
Right.
But it taught me mobility, spatial awareness, all those kinds
absolutely.
of things.
Yep. You hear a different echo and you know where you're kind of at a different building.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so I learned, and that has helped me in the transition, the progressive transition from having some vision, day vision, and losing it now. So, I try to be as mobile as I can, as independent as I can be, and not lose too much. I got to go. I can't sit at home.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you just got to kind of do it a little bit differently. I know, crossing streets for myself lately has been a little, just it's nerve wracking because people drive differently too.
Ooh, yes.
You know what I mean? We have the people on their phones and just kind of going crazy. And, and in my neighborhood, there's construction everywhere. So I'm like, okay, I'm jumping in an Uber. I'm not going to risk my life trying to deal with that. So
I don't blame you.
Yes, exactly. So when did you go to TSB? Just curious.
Started back in 1965.
Oh, wow. Okay, so how old were you?
About 14 or 15. We started this, I was about 15 and graduated in 1969.
Nice. That's fun. TSB, I always was kind of jealous of all the guys that got to go to TSB during the year. You know what I mean? It's just kind of the Band-Aid of is ripped off. social Band-Aid of, the blindness and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's a great experience. And when I was in college, I wrote a paper for one of my sociology classes based on residential versus public school.
Right. Okay. That's
and
cool.
My thesis was that I was able to grow up amongst my peers and being able to be involved in certain things that I couldn't do in the public school system. Mm-hmm. And that gave me a feeling of confidence so that when I did leave and go to college, I already had confidence. So I was able to compete. Yeah, you run into all of the things that a blind person runs into when you're in the open public, but if you've got confidence in yourself, you can compete. Mm-hmm. And I'm a pretty competitive guy.
As we're going to get into here in a second. And so for those of you out there that don't know, TSB, like you can be a cheerleader at TSB, you can wrestle at TSB, you can be involved in the athletic department, all of those things in public school, or 99% of them, blind or low vision individuals would have a hard time doing. So it's so inclusive and it's so cool that they do that. And I think that's a great experience. Speaking of athletics, let's talk about my favorite topic, beat baseball.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's share for the audience, even though I know it already. Can you share your experience of playing beat baseball and what it means to you?
Oh, what a wonderful part of life. I started in 1978.
Oh, wow.
We started, in fact, the Lighthouse was our sponsor, was our first sponsor. They invited us out. We had 2 or 3 different teams, and I chose our team. I chose the players, and I chose one particular player because I knew there was a volunteer. He was my first choice because I knew his friend would come along with us and be a volunteer.
Nice.
So we started then, and we are the only team that has been consistently organized since 1978.
Bayou City Heat.
Bayou City. We changed the name in the early 2000s.
I remember that, yes.
But we have been, it's the same team. We have been together since 1978.
Wow. Old name was Bayou Bombers, was that it?
Bayou City Bombers.
Bayou City Bombers,
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, we love that, and hopefully we'll continue on for years to come. Let's bring home some more trophies for sure.
Exactly.
Let's talk about board service now. How did your journey lead you to serve on the board for the Lighthouse of Houston?
One night, and back in probably 1989 or 90 or one of those years back in there, I got a call from Gib DeTero. Mm-hmm. And he asked me if I would like to serve on the board of the Lighthouse, and I jumped at the chance,
of course,
to come and serve on the board. And I worked downtown at what was then, it became J.P. Morgan Chase.
Right.
I can't remember what we were back then, and but there was a gentleman that served on the board also. He worked at the Chronicle,
right?
And we would ride down here together to the board meeting and ride back, and the service serving on the board was certainly a privilege and an honor. We were there when the building of the new building.
Got it. So the early 2000, right?
Right. Raising the funds to get the building built, even because we were at 3535.
Yep. 3530. Yeah.
Well, it was 35. Yep. That's right. 35.
Yep. 3535 was my old apartment address across the street, the old Allen House.
Right.
That's funny.
I knew that address was familiar.
Yes.
But 3530, and then there was another little building on this property where we used to come, and that was the gym.
Wow.
And we used to come down here and play gold ball.
Oh, wow.
We tried to get goalball teams in Houston, and that's where we would come and practice goalball. We did take a team to Denton in 1 year, and we did pretty good. But that was on this property, probably at the other end of this building was where that building was, and they tore all of that down to build this building. But I was on the board that helped get this property and building to what you see today.
Right, and we are sitting in that building as we speak. Yes, we are, yes. And it's a beautiful facility, and we're updating it and all kinds of stuff. So we're thankful that you guys got this started for us. It's awesome. So let's get into technology. So the evolution of technology and services. How did the technology at the Lighthouse of Houston evolve over the years? Now, I know the answer to this, but we want to get you to talk about it a little bit.
Well, technology in general has evolved so much, in my work life. But the Lighthouse has been what I call the go-to place for blind people in Houston. So if anybody calls, and we wanted the Lighthouse to be that go-to place. So technology has evolved from the standpoint that used to be you could come to the Lighthouse and get training on different aspects of life, but now we've got the center where you got Steve and those guys up there.
Oh yeah,
who can teach you about just about anything.
Yeah,
on all of the different devices and versions of devices and all those different things. So now we're in a spot where there's no excuse for blind people not to be able to compete or at least have access to things that are going on in the world. Exactly.
And those guys are doing an awesome job. They're all cross-trained on iPhone and screen readers and JAWS and Android now.
No, yes.
Which, my buddy Steve, he said, I'm going to immerse myself in this Android world for 6 months. And he's hit a couple of little tiny little bumps, but he's doing okay because he wanted to learn. And that's the dedication that we have around here. Yeah. He immersed himself and we all love the iPhone. Boy, do we love it. But in order to be able to teach people, he did that. And I thought that was a very cool idea, and that proves his dedication. So
he's got to give me some training on something.
Yeah, Steve's awesome, man. Steve's all around great trainer. So, yes, sir. So other than the Lighthouse of Houston, what are some organizations that you're involved in, and how did they support the blind and low vision community?
Well, of course, as organizations go, I'm involved with the Bayou City Heat, or Greater Houston Beat Baseball Association, because we are a nonprofit.
Yes.
But probably I think the thing that takes most of my life right now is the American Council of the Blind, starting at the Houston Council, which is our local chapter, ACBT, our state chapter, and then the national organization. In terms of my blindness work, I serve as secretary of our local chapter. I'm on the board at the state level, and I am the treasurer of our national organization.
Wow.
So that takes up a great deal of time, but it's stuff that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And we advocate. We also have fun.
Yeah.
Just like last night, we had an orientation meeting for new members, all over the state. There were about 50 people on that call. And we talked about all of the different aspects of the American Council of the Blind of Texas. Well, we talked about all three levels. But the purpose was to get people to understand that when you lose your vision, you don't have to stop living.
Exactly.
And we're running into a lot of people who are losing their vision, some young, some old, but they don't know what to do. And so we try to help them, give them resources and ideas and invite them to come along and be with us, because we can keep them busy.
Absolutely. And you know, and that's lovely that you do all of that and onboard everyone in that way. Because, you know, back in the day, access to things like this, like, you know, it was more difficult to find, and you weren't familiar with, you know, if you didn't hear about it, you didn't know about it, you know, and we were or actually a lot more isolated back in the day. So talk about the importance of access to programs and services in the community.
Well, and like I said, when people lose their vision, and even for people who have always had vision loss, there are things to do.
Yeah.
And having access to opportunities, services, projects, doing all of the things that a sighted person would do, we can do those things. We just may have to do them differently, but we can be involved. And I just believe community is the community is out there for us too. So because it affects us. So everything that happens in daily life affects a blind person in one way or another. It just depends on how are you going to take it.
Right.
How are you going to react to it?
Yep, exactly. All right, so we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about some public policy and advocacy stuff, because I hear you do a lot of that. So from your perspective, what are some of the important topics that need attention from a public policy standpoint in the blind and low vision community?
The core aspects of life. You know, for instance, our core criteria is that we look at housing. People are losing housing. We're trying to find housing for people. That's a major subject. Education. We're dealing with this new voucher system in Texas. Although they're giving $30,000 to families with children with disabilities, as for blind and low vision students, $30,000 won't buy all of the equipment.
That's nothing.
that child needs. So we need some special education and special attention to the students that want to go to those types of schools. So we're trying to work on a strategy to help facilitate that. So education, and even education for college students and
Sure.
students that want to go to graduate school, those making sure that the playing field is level, and that they have the right accessibility to everything that sighted students have. Employment.
Big one.
That is key. We want to find people jobs, and that's what I believe that Lighthouse can do in terms of training, helping people learn how to use the technology that is available so that they can be competitive and employable. And
right.
So those are the things that those core life activities, those are the things we work to try to get people involved in, get those services for them. And then we have a person who will work with them to help them get a job.
Yep.
Because everybody's got to eat.
Everybody got to eat.
That's right.
Exactly. And then another big issue is SSDI. So this is, for those of you that don't know, SSDI is Social Security Disability Income. And there's a lot of people in the blind community that, you can receive this income and you can make up to a certain amount and then it's not taken away. Once you reach this certain amount, this check is taken from you entirely. And and you have to pay back like the checks that you've been overpaid, which is crazy. I'm actually living that nightmare. A way long time ago, back when I was working as a medical transcriptionist, we were paid per line. And some months you would go over the limit, and some months you would go under. And I'm 20 whatever years old, and I didn't pay attention to anything. I'm just doing my job, and I'm like, okay, cool, I got this check. Maybe I went a little bit over. Maybe it won't be so bad. I had no knowledge of how this whole thing worked. Well, all of a sudden they're saying, hey, you were cutting you off, and you have to pay back all of the months that you've gone over. It's awful, and it's completely antiquated. And I know that a big ask this year is, to the Congress and session is that we have like this sort of gentler slope, if you will. And I know there's a term, and I can't think of it right now what it is. It's a cliff or some sort of something, to where like, okay, so say you go over, then they'll take off a couple of dollars or something like that. It's more of a gentle decline other than ripping your check away. So what are your opinions on this?
I doubt that we'll get that based on
that's awful.
Based on the structure of Congress right now.
Right.
And Congress, the mindset of Congress. That would be good. I'm hoping that they don't cut SSDI.
Yeah.
They may not cut it out.
Right.
But there's a thought that they may cut it back. And even if for those who aren't working or who aren't able to work, that's going to be a tremendous
100%
problem for those families. But you may be able to supplement it some for those who work. And I could see them cutting that way back, even though you might have your limit. But I could see there was somebody said that there ought to be. I mean, there is a limit to what you can draw.
Right.
But somebody said the upper limit should be cut back about a third. Well, this is a congressman. And wow. The insensitivity of that is, it's already a struggle to work. I mean, to have SSDI and no other income. Yeah. But if they cut it back, just think of what life will be for a blind or visually impaired person. Like I said, people trying to find homes, trying to find an apartment. Yeah. And their SSDI. Well, I just heard a case where a lady was only getting a certain amount, and she figured if they got an apartment, they could make it on the rest. Maybe $300 for the whole month.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. Right. I mean, and that just goes to show how important educating yourself so you can work is, because this is something that unfortunately, we may not be able to lean on in the future. And it's so sad. But there are some people, who just do not have the ability to. And I mean, that's going to be a nightmare for them. I mean, that is, some individual's sole income is this check. Right. And so, but for those of us that are able, it is so important to learn everything you can learn and get yourself a good job if you can, because it's no longer can we totally have faith and rely on this anymore. So,
well, the whole thing about disability says that work is a problem. Some people, disability means I can't work. Right. It's not only the blindness, whatever my training was, whatever the field of employment I previously had, I definitely just can't do it. Yeah. I was a welder.
Right. Exactly. So, I can't weld now.
I can't weld now, So.
Yeah. That's these individuals that have lost their vision later in life. Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, if you're a trade person, then you're in big trouble.
Yeah. Truck driver. I know several truck drivers.
Right.
Who lost their vision.
Yeah.
So they can't drive trucks anymore.
Right. Exactly. And that is the unfortunate thing, right? And you're old enough, you're like, to learn a whole new thing, and you're almost at retirement age, some of them, so this is a problem. All right, so let's talk about advocacy efforts. So how can individuals and organizations advocate for better policies and support in the blind and low vision community?
The first thing you have to do is figure out what it is what change you want to see.
Yeah.
What it is, what's the problem, and what changes do we need to see? So, for instance, right now we heard a story. We just got back from El Paso, and we heard a story that we need to address. And so I sent out a message to some people, this task force that we're putting together, because we are going to address the issue. The question is how. What strategy do we need to put forth to address the issue? Once you find your strategy, set it up, then you go to the people or the person who's in charge, who has the power.
Yep.
What's that saying that people say? Speak truth to power.
Exactly.
You have to go to the person who has the power. Don't just sit back and complain about it.
Right.
Find the strategy. Go to the person who has the power. And what we found out is that, tell a personal story. How is this affecting me, or how is it affecting my family, or how is it maybe if I'm advocating for somebody else, how is it affecting Joe or Jill or whoever? But tell that personal story. It's real. These things are happening. And when you can strike that nerve of the person in power, a lot of times something happens.
Yep.
So that's the basic thing we try to do is go to the people in power and really advocate for ourselves or for a system change or advocate for someone who we know is having a really tough time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Great word to live by. All right. Well, Reverend Garrett, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and insights with us today. We're going to wrap up our conversation in a second, but do you have any final tips or advice for people who are blind or low vision when it comes to navigating resources and advocating for yourself?
The first thing you do is don't sit at home and twiddle your thumbs.
Hear, hear.
Call somebody. Find out who knows. You can call us. You can call the Houston Council of the Blind, 713-520-9237, and somebody will answer the phone. We will talk to you. We will give you our knowledge and resources of what's out there, and hopefully you'll be helped. But don't sit at home. Come out, call, get involved, talk to people. What we found is that you're not the first one to have the problem that you're dealing with. And we can find somebody who's probably had something similar, and perhaps you can find a new friend who will help you navigate the issue that is confronting you at that particular time.
Let's get that phone number one more time.
713-520-9237.
Thank you. It is so inspiring to learn about all the challenge that you've overcome and the positive impact that you guys are having on the community. So we love to hear about all of that. And I thank you so much again for joining us today. It's been awesome to have you. Finally.
You're welcome.
Yay. All right. To our listeners, we hope you found this episode both motivating and informative. Remember, you can find more episodes of Sightless Voices, Unleashing Potential on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, y'all, your feedback is welcome and encouraged. So if you'd like to see something on this podcast, please reach out and let us know, and we will try to get it on there for you. Be sure to follow the Lighthouse of Houston on social media for updates and visit our website to learn about all of the cool stuff we have going on, because there is a lot of stuff coming up. So make sure you check that website. Until next time, stay strong and stay empowered.